Welcome to another episode of the Healing Chronic Illness Summit. And today I have a very special guest with me. I have Cacey with me from California. And he's also been on the medical medium protocol for a while and has healed himself from a lot of things. And most of it he's done by just eating the right foods without using much supplements. And yeah, welcome, Cacey. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be with you and to be able to connect with you.
Yeah, thank you for joining in.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You're welcome.
So how did you get started on the medical medium lifestyle, or did you get started into raw foods and healing yourself before?
No, so I had, nutrition-wise, I had no idea about medical medium information until I got sick. The way that I got sick was actually trying to get healthy. I was trying to get off my anxiety medication at the same time as I was trying to, I stopped alcohol, like coffee, a lot of processed foods. I stopped like dairy, and I did that all within like a 3-month period, while getting off this anxiety medication that I was on for 10 years. I was on Paxil for like panic attacks when I was like 21. So I was on that for 10 years, never had any anxiety. And then once I started coming off that and I stopped everything, I didn't know this at the time, but my body started detoxing itself, and I was eating so much fat, like so much meat.
Wow.
A lot of other fat. And I was going through a breakup at the time, and I wasn't eating any fruits, any carbs. I was eating rice and some stuff like that, but I was eating no potatoes, no squashes, no fruits. And so my brain started to overheat, and I started to get a lot of dark thoughts. I started to see, people dying in front of me. Really, really scary stuff at the time. It was very dark. It was very dark. And then I had to stop working because the depression and anxiety were so intense. I wasn't sleep. I was sleeping like 2 hours a night. And then I was working out so hard to try to feel good and to try to distract myself what was happening in my head, because I love to work out. And after one day, a couple hours after a really intense workout, my legs and my body just felt so weak. It just got so weak. I had been feeding this Epstein-Barr virus deep inside my body that just grew and grew and grew, and it took over my body. And that was in July of 2017. And then from August to about beginning of October, I thought I was dying for 3 months straight. I mean, I would say goodbye to my parents at night. I would be like, I don't know if I'm going to wake up in the morning. My heart would be racing like to 180 beats a minute, where I could have one thought and it would just trigger my heart to just race so hard. And that was, my adrenal glands were so weak, and I was stuck in fight or flight 24/7, couldn't sleep. I was like that for 3 months straight. I had all my brain, my neurotransmitters were all short circuited. I had tons of heavy metals and EBV. At the time, I didn't know any of this. But how I got out of that was I started surrendering. I started breathing. I started facing all the fear. I started asking for God's guidance. And then I got guided to a detoxification program. It was called Dr. Lamb's Adrenal Fatigue Reset. And so I started to learn how to detox real slowly. I couldn't take like one supplement without completely going to a complete flare. Wow. So I did that for about 2 months. And then let me backtrack a little bit. 6 months before that, when I first started getting sick in that June and July of 2017, my friend gave me Medical Medium's book, the Life Changing Foods book, and I had tried it for like 2 days, and I was like, it's not working, so I stopped doing it. And then fast forward again, 6 months later, I went to the doctors. He diagnosed me with Epstein-Barr virus. I went to another doctor who diagnosed me with Lyme disease too. But when I heard about the Epstein-Barr virus, I remembered I listened to a podcast over the summer, Anthony's podcast, talking about Epstein-Barr virus. and I had been asking for God's guidance, and immediately I knew how to heal. I went immediately home and I opened the Life Changing Foods book, and there was all my answer right there. I was ready for that information. And so from then on out, that was March of 2018. I got all of his books and I just started reading, taking notes, and reading and studying and taking notes. And I learned how to heal with the medical medium information. That's how I found the diet and his information.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Absolutely. So did you had anyone helping you with this, or did you just all learn it by yourself? And
Yep, no one was helping me with it. You know, my parents were helping me by letting me live there. You know, I had my room, you know, to sleep in, a bed to sleep in, but nobody was helping me how to learn how to heal. I had to learn all my own. You know, I read the books, I studied the books, I was highlighting, I was going to each section, seeing what section was depression, anxiety, gut health, Epstein-Barr virus, you know, fatigue, and then I would go to the back section, highlight the supplements, which supplements were best. You know, I created a health journal to keep track of my journal, my health. You know, I studied my body. I paid real close attention. I listened to the podcast over and over and over again on repeat, just learning, studying, learning and studying. And it was all me. It was all me learning how to do everything.
so how did you get started? Did you just start eating more fruits and veggies, or did you
Yeah,
had
so
a certain plan that you thought that's gonna work for me? This is how I'm gonna do it.
so when I got started, I had already been, for the past 8 months, I had already been off of processed foods. I had already been off of gluten. I had already been off of dairy. I had already been off of alcohol. I had already been off of coffee. What I was doing was I was eating lots of rice, lots of beans, and lots of meat with like no seasoning. I was afraid to eat seasoning. I was afraid to eat all those things. I had a lot of fear with food, and I was eating like meat like 3 to 4 times a day. So the way what got me off of the meat was right before I found medical medium, I took a blood test that said I was A positive, like this chart, what food's best for the blood type. And that's what helped me get off of meat, was that it was showing that my blood type was best plant-based.
Oh.
But I don't believe in the blood types now whatsoever. That was just a tool to help me at the time to get off of the meat. So that's when I started to, okay, so I dove into Life Changing Foods book, and I also called, I reached out to somebody I found on Medical Medium, the community, Organic Faith. She had been doing it for like a year at the time. You might know her. She's pretty big in the community, but I talked to her for like an hour, and she sort of gave me some information on, you know, which supplements are the most important ones and some of the foods. But really, I learned, I created the diet for me off of like the 28-day cleanse. So I studied that and I was like, okay, this is the cleanse. I knew that you had to detox your body. Like I knew that was how you got to heal. Like you have to cleanse your body to heal. And I was super sensitive. So what I did was I studied the 28-day cleanse and I made my own sort of routine with the celery juice in the morning, lemon water first, then celery juice. And then I was doing the heavy metal detox smoothie, but I wasn't doing the full dosage. I was doing wild blueberries, banana, cilantro, dulse, and then a little bit of spirulina, a little bit of barley grass juice powder, and the orange. And then I was eating just every 1 to 2 hours until I was full with just fruit, bringing in fruit and leafy greens, you know, the adrenal snacks every 1 to 2 hours. And then for dinners, I was just eating potatoes every single night. I started off with sweet potatoes and like asparagus and Brussels sprouts, but then after about like 3 months of that, I switched to regular potatoes because they're the most antiviral food that you can eat.
Yeah.
Every night I ate potatoes for like a year, like straight.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, they're very delicious, so it's no problem.
yeah, they're so delicious, and it was very comforting to have those potatoes at nighttime.
Yeah, they help through cravings. That's how it was for me, especially with the Brussels sprouts and the asparagus. when I wanted to get off of cornflakes and things like that, something that's more filling than just greens and fruits, then these steamed veggies and potatoes really help to satiate the cravings.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. Yeah, they really do. They're so delicious.
Yeah.
It's important to have those for those cravings in the moment that you have those cravings to eat those foods.
Yes. So you also mentioned a lot that you started out with a lot of digestive issues while you were on the journey. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think a lot of people are dealing with things like that too, with constipation and bloating.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a huge part of chronic illness is digestive issues. In order to heal, you have to start opening up your detox pathways, which is, your bowel movements is your main one. And that has everything to do with your gut, which is your stomach, your intestinal tract, your gallbladder, and your liver. So when I had constipation my whole life. Man, when I was in my 20s, I had the worst constipation. I always had terrible, terrible gas, so that ammonia permeability that Anthony talks about seeping through the intestinal tract into my body. I for sure had that, tons of old rotting proteins in my intestinal tract. I just was so constipated. And when I was in my teens, I used to get terrible, terrible stomach aches. Like it wasn't in my intestinal tract. It was more in like my stomach in the center
Yeah.
that were just so painful for like 4 to 5 days. I had no idea what those were, but those went away, but the constipation never did. And I used to take a lot of laxatives all the time to be able to go to the bathroom, or else I couldn't go. Once I went plant-based for like the first, well, actually, yeah, once I went plant-based for like the first week, like I couldn't go to the bathroom because I started detoxing so much, my liver couldn't keep up with it. So, what I did was, that then I wasn't on the celery juice. And once I started the celery juice, I was able to start going to the bathroom again more. So that really helped. But I was only going like once a day in the beginning, which is not good, if you're trying to detox, but still that, um, it takes a while. It took a long time for me to get my bowel movements flowing. So, and I had loose bowels for the entire 2 years of cleansing. I've been on this detox. I've had loose bowels the entire time. It's crazy. Like
So
not
you
like,
went totally the different way now.
yeah, and for the first, year and a half, I was going like 1 to 3 times a day. So some days I'd go like 2 or 3 times a day. And then the next day or two, I would go maybe just once a day. I noticed that when I was detoxing a lot, my bowel movements would actually slow down a little bit. So when I wasn't going to the bathroom, all my symptoms would flare up because that was my liver that was so overloaded with toxins from cleansing, it wasn't producing the bile for digestion. So once I slowed it down a little bit, or once I got to a point, then it would clear out. So like Anthony says, it was 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, the whole way for me in my digestive. So, but I was eating a lot of melons, and that really, in the morning on an empty stomach, that really helped me go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I ate melons for like every day for like a year straight, but they also caused me to detox a lot. So I had to take the bad with the good. I had to go to the bathroom, but they detox and I'd feel terrible. But that was the only way I was going to heal, was going through that pain. But I was detoxing the whole time.
So didn't you also feel kind of dehydrated a lot of the time because you went to the bathroom quite that often, even though you were eating a lot of melons?
You know what? Yeah, what's funny is that on a cellular level, because of the celery juice and the lemon water and the blueberries and apples and the melons I was eating, yeah, I felt dehydrated because of what was happening in my liver. I could feel very dehydrated. It's really weird. And then after like a year and a half of doing that, my body started healing itself so efficiently. I couldn't handle all those things that I was eating anymore. So I had to slow down. I was eating like sweet potatoes every day with like avocados and potatoes at night. just because I was detoxing so much and had so much anger and rage from detoxing. But I felt very dehydrated. My body, I just felt very dehydrated, but I know that I wasn't. I just had to go through that to heal.
Yeah, same here. I also kind of feel that sometimes too.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I know a few of my clients have that same thing where they can actually feel dehydrated, but they're actually really hydrating on a cellular level. And what I think that is that's the liver that's cleansing so much, and it's not able to do all of its other jobs as efficiently. So your bloodstream is sort of calling for more liquids. So I just drank regular water when I felt that because I didn't want to detox anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I don't really like regular water, so I usually end up with coconut water or water with some kind of fruit juice in it.
Yeah, I see. I would have loved to been able to do that. I would definitely have loved to been. I would rather had lime or lemon or coconut water or a fruit vegetable juice, but I couldn't do that. If I were to do that, it would have started. It would have detoxed me way more, and I feel way worse.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Because I feel if I drink, for example, if I drink my cucumber apple juice with some other greens in it, then the apple juice really helps to move my digestion as well.
yeah, and that's the case for most people. Is that they'll do exactly that, and it'll help them feel better. And for people who are really sensitive like me, it just makes you, once you start detoxing a lot, it just makes you feel so much worse
Yeah.
until it's all gone, and then it's going to make me feel great, of course.
Yes. So a little bit, some different topic. Did you also start realizing that your spiritual connection got somewhat better throughout the years and after all of the cleansing? Or did you
so
already have it before?
so I created my spiritual connection before I even found medical medium. When after I thought I was dying for 3 months straight, that's when I had surrendered to God. I had completely let go of everything out of my control, and I was studying spiritual people. I was reading books on spirituality. I was listening, and I was just studying that information. I started reflecting, and I started to see that this was actually here to serve me. I started to change my mindset that this was actually here to serve me, and I started thanking God for it. It's making me into a better person. And I started creating my future from the present moment, visualizing myself how this illness was going to help me out and help other people out in the future. So I learned how to sort of become an alchemist and start attracting the things that served me in the moment. Could I feel spiritual? No, because I was so sick. I couldn't feel spiritual at all, but I knew that I was spiritual. I'd let go of all fear. I'd faced all my fear, and I only um, felt belief and trust, practicing that every single day, over and over again, paying attention to signs over and over again, creating my own way, my own reality. Um, do I haven't been able to feel this, like feel that love or feel complete peace because of my symptoms still, which they're almost gone. But honestly, it's going to be like walking, out of a fire, into the light. It's going to feel phenomenal. Like, I just know it. I'm just going to feel nothing but peace and love, because that's how this diet makes you feel once you cleanse your body. So I haven't felt that yet, but I know it's coming.
That's good to know. That's what keeps us going, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The angels are there to help.
Always. So I think that's it pretty much. I just have one more last question, and that's a question that I ask every participant. So, what would you do if you would have to get started all over again? Would you do it all the same, or are there things that you would change and do different if you start all over again?
Well, that's a great question. If I were to start all over again, and I'm talking about when I first started in May of 2017, when I first started to get off my anxiety medication and I started to change my diet, I would have done everything a lot slower. I would have gone off the anxiety medication. I should have been tapered like a year or 2 years. I would have been practicing meditation, breathing exercises, to help learn how to cope with anxiety. And then I would also, I would have been reading the medical medium books, and I would have been slowly transitioning off of the dairy and gluten and eggs and pork and processed foods and canola oil. I would have done it much slower. So I would have got off gluten and dairy first, and then I would have started incorporating more fruits in the morning times. I would have brought in celery juice to support my body, so my brain wouldn't have overheated if I would have done that. I would have been able to keep the Epstein-Barr virus at bay if I was supporting my body with the glucose and the mineral salts from the beginning. But I didn't do that. I didn't know what I was doing. So that's the advice I have for everyone else, is to go slow, to read the information, study the information. You take one step at a time. Healing happens very slowly, and everybody's so different. You don't know your path until you start on it, and you're going to learn. It's going to be an experience. So you just take things one day at a time. You make one step at a time. You slowly cut out these bad foods, and then you slowly bring in the more fruits and the celery juice. And if you're somebody who's really sensitive, you have to go slow. You do a little bit of detoxing, and then you can slow down with some more cooked foods. That helps keep things a little bit at bay. But that's what I would have changed. But when I really think about it, I wouldn't have changed anything, because it was just my destiny. It was my path. Chronic illness came here to serve me and to heal me and to free me. So that's how I have to look at it.
Yes, I usually think so too, not just with health, but also other topics in my life, other issues. I usually don't really want to change anything. Everything happens in divine order.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Divine order is the magic zone, man. That's where God lives. That's where the magic is. And I love that. Yeah, absolutely love that you said that. That's the truth.
Yeah. So I think we're already finished. And I'm thanking you very much for joining in and sharing all of your story details and tips that might be helpful for others too. Is there anything else that you want to let them know, or?
Yeah, if I could leave, a little bit of information for the people, is that chronic illness it's very hard. There's a lot of symptoms and feelings that can get in the way. Is just be so compassionate with yourself. Just give yourself that self-love. Just allow yourself to, whatever is happening, just to be with it and not resist it, and just tell yourself it's okay to feel this way, because you can't run from it. The only way out is to go through all that and to completely surrender and let go of fear, and to stop being afraid of the unknown, and to really embrace the unknown. That's where healing will happen most. And the foods, you'll just remove yourself out of the way when you surrender and trust that unknown, where, because tomorrow hasn't happened yet, and the mind likes to take you to the worst possible outcome. So when you really embrace it and start just visualizing and trusting the best possible outcome, where you're not trying to control, that's when you can really let go, and God will help you. And then Anthony's information, if you're doing the supplements and the foods, you're just removing yourself from the way, and the foods will do the job. They'll cleanse your body, and you have to cleanse to heal. So plan, make sure you plan, and you're studying, reading the books, getting the juices in, getting the fruits in, the supplements in the best you can. And everyone's doing the best they can, and you just learn as you go.
Absolutely. That's what we all have to learn, that it can't be done in a fast way, we can only go slow and
Yeah,
learn from
that's
it.
right. Yeah, I think most people they want to heal really quickly and they expect
Yes,
things to work for them right away, and that's just not the case. So fully accepting that this is a lifestyle change and that you have to be patient and that you really have to put in your work to heal and that it's not going to happen for you right away is a huge factor, and that's going to help you in the long run when you can accept that and start to really dive into the healing modalities that are out there that Anthony provides.
absolutely. Thank you for that wonderful tip and for sharing it. And I think that's it then. And we were very glad to have you on the show. Thank you for taking your time and joining in. And yeah,
Thank you so much. Sending you and everyone else all my love and healing energy. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here with you too. Thank you again for joining in, and I guess we'll say goodbye to our viewers now. And then
Bye-bye, everybody.
bye. Thank you for joining in for another episode of the Healing Chronic Illness Summit. I hope you enjoyed Cacey's content and it was some inspiration for you and kept your hopes high to get kickstarted on your healing journey as well. And always remember, take it slow, take it one step at a time. You can get there. And if you want to reach out to Cacey to get a health coaching or to see more of what he's doing and more of his inspirations, I'll leave you the links to his Instagram down below so that you can find him. And then I'll see you guys soon in another video. Bye!